Is this happening right now? Seriously?
The Morning Drive. Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John Brown come for you? Tell me what you wanna do, what you gonna do. Yeah.
19 after the hour. We're back on the Morning Drive. Headline check number 1 coming up. So glad you're with us. Phone lines are open for you for your reaction to the events of the day yesterday at 866-BIT-LANE. We've only gotten to a part of it. We've just outlined the Hendrick Motorsports and the colleague racing penalties as far as those hood louvers are concerned. But wait, there's more. So Denny Hamlin said on his podcast Monday, he intentionally tried to take Ross Chastain out at the end of the race, that is, in Phoenix on Sunday. NASCAR told us when Elton Sawyer joined us earlier in the week that they had gotten a copy of that audio and they were going to review it. Elton told us that a couple of days ago. They indeed did review that, and they have come to the determination that Denny is in violation of sections 4.4 of the NASCAR Member Code of Conduct, specifically items B and D. B, attempting to manipulate the outcome of the race or championship, wrecking or spinning another vehicle, whether or not that vehicle is removed from competition as a result. And D, actions by a NASCAR member that NASCAR finds to be detrimental to stock car racing or NASCAR. Denny Hamlin has been fined $50,000 and assessed a loss of 25 driver points. That takes him from 7th to 12th in points. There is no playoff deduction. NASCAR Senior VP of Competition Elton Sawyer addresses why Denny was penalized.
They're all individual, right? They're unique to themselves. And when you look at this one this past weekend, we would have viewed that as a racing incident. But then as 24 hours later, have a competitor that has gone on a podcast, which I will say we're delighted that Denny has a podcast. We think that's great, interacts with the fans. But when you start admitting that you have intentionally done something that would compromise the results of the end of the race, then that rises to a level that we're going to get involved.
And Elton went on to provide more texture.
You look at our athletes at the highest level of motorsports in North America, and sending the message that it's okay to tell somebody that I'm going to wreck you, and then do that. That's not the message that we need to be sending to anybody. For sure, we don't need to be sending that to young drivers that are starting out and lower levels and inspire to be at the NASCAR Cup level.
Denny said he will not appeal this penalty from NASCAR. And in another matter, Eric Almirola lost a wheel during Sunday's Cup race at Phoenix. Crew members Ryan Mulder and Sean Cotton have been suspended from the next 2 Championship Series events. They can return at Richmond weekend, which will be April 1st and 2nd in Virginia. So, with all that out there, Kelly, your thought about the Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola penalties?
Well, I don't have much to say on Eric Almirola. We all knew that penalty was coming. I think the happiest person in NASCAR today is Eric Almirola and Drew Blickensturfer and everybody on that 10, because nobody's talking about them. Nobody cares. Everybody forgot they were even in Sunday's race. Okay? Right? They are flying under the radar, going about their business. Everybody's going to show up in Atlanta and go, oh, okay, yeah, you don't have your 2 crew members. All right. Moving on. Right? They are bottom of the barrel. Nobody cares. Denny Hamlin. I love Denny Hamlin. I don't know about the rest of you, but I love his honesty. I appreciate the fact that he is true to himself and he just does what he wants to do, whether you like it or not. But I will say this. Denny walked into a police station and confessed to a crime nobody asked him about. That's what this is. That's what this is. He walked in and said, put some handcuffs on me because I committed a crime. that nobody asked him about, nobody wanted to know about, nobody was curious about.
Well, I think people wanted to know about it, but
Yes, but not in this way, right? No, nobody was looking to get somebody penalized or
he freely gave the tea without being asked to pour it.
Right. He walked in and said, "Hey, you got a cot for me. I'm here for, to serve my time." So in all seriousness, though, I completely understand where NASCAR is coming from. I thought Elton Sawyer laid it out perfectly there. When you have someone admit and confess and again, sell themselves out, you have to get involved. NASCAR cited that rule. You read it there, Bagman, about manipulation of a race. We know how seriously they take that. We know how seriously they like to refer to things when it comes to actions detrimental to the sport. So completely understand where the penalty is coming from. This is sending a message that as things escalate between two of the same drivers over and over again, eventually NASCAR has to step in and say, you know what, cut the crap. And when it comes to intentionally wrecking someone, we know they don't like that. So not surprised at all by the penalty. This is where I'm a little different. And, maybe we'll hear some fans. I'm sure everybody has some different opinions as well. I understand the penalty. I understand NASCAR need to make a penalty. I agree with the penalty. I only agree with half the penalty, though. I think the fine maybe should have been a little stiffer because I don't agree with taking the points away after the fact. Elton Sawyer said in that clip, in the moment, as we officiated the event, we viewed it as a racing incident. Denny Hamlin was the Dumbo that went on a podcast and confessed. I don't think you should be able to go back and retroactively take points from something that you have already officiated in that moment and said, we're fine with it, we're moving on. Again, I understand you have to do something because he did confess to something that goes against the rule book. So I would have bumped up the fine and not taken the points away. So I differ on that a little bit.
Let me challenge you on that. You say that they officiated the race, it was done, it was over. What's the difference between that and the car failing post-race inspection?
Because that's part of officiating the race, though. That is part of officiating the race. You have your post-race procedures where that car went through the race. And I understand this probably, I may be talking in circles here, right? Because it is all a part of the event. I get that. I just, for some reason, I'm struggling with the race is the competition part is done and over with. What you saw as far as the competition and that move, you were fine with in the moment. You didn't think anything of it. And now 3 days later, you want to go back and take points away. Because, again, you would have moved on and not had anything to say about it until Denny confessed. So, again, I understand the penalty. There has to be a penalty. I guess going back to your original question, the inspection, that's all part of the competition. That's all happening right then and there. Or you're taking cars to the R&D center because you need to further inspect. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense. I admit that. Maybe I'm talking in circles here. I don't like the points aspect of it for some reason. I'm having trouble kind of swallowing that one. And I could be wrong. It's just my thoughts.
We will continue this discussion on the other side of headline check number 1 next.